The story begins with a sled rider named Leonard. He is a dog trainer who lives in Alaska. He tries to find the best puppies and train them to be sled dogs in order to serve as couriers in rough snowy terrains. One day, Leonard returns home to his wife. He finds her caring for little Togo. She is keeping him in a basket. Leonard reminds her he does not like having dogs in their room. He tells her this dog is weak. Alaska can be too harsh on the weak, but Constance wants to give the dog a chance. Leonard believes this one can't be trained to be a sled dog. It is not as smart as the other dogs. As the years go by, Togo grows up, but Leonard is not fond of him. His wife tries to change his mind, but she can't. One day, Leonard sells the dog. However, the buyer brings them Togo back because he does not want him. Togo causes too much trouble. Not wanting him around his feet, Leonard locks him in a cage and takes care of the fence, so Togo can't escape. Leonard takes the sled dogs to train them on the sled. Togo is jealous and he digs the dirt on his side. Soon, he emerges on the other side of the fence. Togo runs away to find Leonard and the rest of the dogs. Togo finds them soon enough and he upsets the other dogs. Then, the little dog sees a herd of deer and runs after them. Leonard tries to stop him, but it is too late. Leonard uses the sled to go after Togo, but Togo is heading towards a river while hunting down the deer. Leonard tries to make his dogs take a left turn, but the sled tips over and he ends up in the water. When he walks out, Togo is waiting for him. Leonard will now try to contain Togo inside the warehouse. His wife tells him that is kind of too much, but Leonard replies that Togo is disrupting the hierarchy between the other dogs. Leonard takes the dogs and the sled again. Meanwhile, Togo makes a mess in the barn and he manages to escape by climbing near a small opening. He runs away and reaches Leonard again. A few days later, Leonard decides to sell Togo once more. His wife does not approve of his decision and she is sad for the next couple of days. At the same time, Togo makes a mess in the new household he lives in. Not seeing an opening, he decides to rush and break through the window. Togo escapes and he runs away to find Leonard again. While Leonard rides with his dogs, he sees Togo staring at him. The dog is persistent and is also injured. These two factors make Leonard consider taking Togo with the rest of the dogs. He replaces one of the dogs with Togo. Togo wants to be the leader and runs first row, but Leonard takes him and moves him to the last row. Togo runs fast. He has a lot of energy. Leonard likes how fast Togo is. Soon, he places him in the first spot, and Togo becomes the leader of the sled. Eventually, he rides the dogs back home. Constance is happy to see that Togo is leading the pack and the sled. Later, he admits to his wife that Togo is good and he will keep him. 12 years later, Togo is the leader of a pack of dogs and they are running on the snow in order to drag a sled. Togo sees a herd of wild deer. Leonard thinks the dog is heading towards the deer. He orders Togo to not go that way, but the dog makes its own path. The man sees that the dog has been taking him away from a dangerous mountain range and a roaming storm. Leonard now rewards Togo and says he is a good dog. One day, a friend of Leonard's has been waiting for him. He informs him that everybody has gathered in the town hall and they need him. The mayor announces that a disease has broken out and they need antidotes. However, they can't get them because a storm is coming and the airplanes can't make the trip, which is why they need Leonard and his dogs. Upon dropping the doctor by the hospital, Leonard sees for himself that the children are suffering due to the disease. That night, the mayor visits him. They discuss if Leonard can make the 600 miles trip to Fairbanks where the antidotes are located. Leonard prepares his dogs, and he says goodbye to his wife. The next day, the town greets him as he is about to get started on this dangerous mission. Leonard gets started on his journey. He takes the sled dogs to the eye of the storm. He takes them uphill and then downhill. Soon, they stumble upon trouble and the sled is heading towards a cliff. Leonard tries to run the other way, but his torso is attached to the sled and he is pulled backwards. Luckily, the sled gets stuck moments before taking the fall. Leonard orders Togo to run uphill. Togo does so. After a couple of tries, Togo was able to pull the other dogs up as well. Leonard congratulates him, but he sees that Togo's paw has been injured. That night, they are able to find shelter in an aid station. Two friendly aboriginals from Alaska take care of them. Especially, they take care of Togo's injured leg. Togo is old, but he still has some fight in him. The next day, Leonard greets his friends and decides to run his sled over the thick ice of the lake in order to cut some way short. Leonard and the dogs start running onto the thick ice. the ice starts shattering. The dogs get scared, but Leonard tries to guide them through the danger by making them run faster. Soon, they make it out of the lake and continue on their journey until they find the next aid station. Meanwhile, the mayor discusses a new plan. He wants some other couriers from another town to carry the serum towards a roundhouse that is in the way of Leonard. That way Leonard will not have to travel that much road, and he can also bring the serum back sooner. However, Constance speculates that her husband will have traveled more distance than the point the mayor wants the man with the serum to meet him at. Additionally, Leonard will not know that the other man will be looking for him to give him the serum. The next day, Leonard continues on his journey. While he rides with his dogs, another man sees him passing by. The man runs behind him and screams his name. He tries to make him stop, but Leonard rides away. The man collapses on the snow, but he is happy to see that Leonard has heard something and is returning back to him. The two of them hug and the man tells him he has the serum. Next, they have a sit in a roundhouse. The courier discusses how this storm broke his dogs. He tells Leonard that Togo does not seem very well. He suggests that Leonard leaves Togo there and he will take care of him. However, Leonard gets angry and he snaps at the man. He tells the man to care for his own dogs. But then, he regrets it and gets up to apologize to the man. He thanks him for thinking about the dogs because not many couriers do it. Finally, he tells the man that if he fails to take the serum back in Nome, it will be his fault alone. The courier gives Leonard the serum. The next morning, Leonard gets started on his way back to the town, and he has to cross over the thick ice again. This time around things prove to be more difficult because the ice starts breaking. Furthermore, the dogs can't reach their full speed because their legs slip on the ice. Despite, they manage to pull the sled over the cracks. At some point, they are endangered when a thick piece of ice breaks and almost drowns them, but they escape it in the last minute. Before they reach the land, a large piece of ice detaches them from it. Having to come up with a solution, Leonard nails a piece of steel on the thick piece of ice, he attaches Togo's cord to it, and then he throws Togo over the water and to the land. That way, Togo pulls the piece of ice a bit nearer to the land. Then, Leonard and the rest of the dogs pull the sled above the water and to the land. Eventually, Leonard jumps on the other side and they are ready to go. While they have some rest inside the roundhouse, their friends believe that Togo is very tired and he is going to die soon. Meanwhile, another courier and his dogs get deployed in order to reach Leonard faster and help him transfer the serum. The next day, Leonard tries to give Togo some rest, but he denies it. The crew rides again, but now the storm becomes too heavy. Knowing that he is not going to be able to guide the dogs, Leonard tells Togo to take them to the next roundhouse. Leonard wakes up after having passed out, and he drags himself near Togo. Although they can't see much, they are found and they are taken inside the roundhouse. Togo is exhausted, but he will have some time to rest. Another courier named Gunnar takes the serum, and he starts on his way back to town. The next day, Gunnar reaches the town hall and delivers the serum. Meanwhile, Leonard and his dogs start walking towards the town as well. Leonard doesn't want to push the dogs even more, so he walks with them. Leonard finally makes it home. He is worried about Togo's condition, but his wife tries to calm him down. Togo is a fighter after all. The following day, neighbors start streaming in Leonard's house and they bring gifts for him and Togo. He is the savior of the town who stopped the plague. The next day, Leonard tells Togo that he has to stay home, and he rides away with the other dogs. That makes Togo crazy and he tries to open the door. Constance tries to keep him at home by feeding him nice foods, but that is not going to work. Togo does open the door and then runs after Leonard even with an injured leg. When Leonard sees him running towards him, he is reminded of Togo when he was a little puppy. He understands that Togo and himself share an extraordinary bond. Leonard replaces his runs with walks and he hangs out with Togo while they walk together. Togo lives 2 more years and many people gather to have a puppy that originates from his line. They appreciate the loyalty, courage, and stamina of dogs like him. Eventually, Togo passes away, but Leonard and his wife continue working with dogs. They train them to become the best riders they can be. Remember to subscribe to my channel, and we will see you next time.